Hello everybody, so today I will present an NMR investigation of the titanium effect on the slag reactivity. It's a work performed in SEMTI in Orléans. As you know, the slag reactivity depends on lots of different parameters. For example, we can say the composition, the basicity, aluminum content, but also the presence and the amount of crystalline phases, the quenching rate, but also the presence of minor elements as iron, barium, or titanium. And so, today we will focus on the effect of titanium because this element is known to have a negative impact on the mechanical resistance of cement. As we can see here, slag has a complex composition, and this composition will depend on the origin of the slag. Because of that, it's very difficult to study an industrial slag reactivity. In order to simplify the problem, we can model the slag by a glass with only main element of the slag to simplify the problem. In practice, we create 4 different glass models with only the main element of the slag, with 2 different basicity, with a calcium and silicon ratio of 0.8 and a second one with a ratio of 1.2. And for both of them, we add or not 3% weight of titanium. Detail of the composition is given in this table. To mimic the cement hydration, we use the R3 protocols. I mean, we mix a solution of KOH and K2SO4 with a powder of the slag and with a large excess of Portlandite. We store it in a closed container at constant temperature, and after 2 days, 7 days, 14 or 28 days of hydration, we stop it and we characterize the sample obtained. In the first step, we perform XRD analysis on all samples after 28 days of hydrations. We didn't observe any difference on the nature of the crystalline phase. The main phase is Portlandite because of the large excess of the Portlandite during the synthesis, and we can also detect gypsum and tubermorite-like structures. In order to quantify and to detect also amorphous and crystalline phase at the same time, we will perform silicon and aluminum NMR. I present here some example of aluminum spectra. So without hydration, we obtain the signal of the glass, and more the hydration time is important, more we observe a very thin signal in ILO6 region, indicating anhydride phases. By the same way, we also observe anhydride phases in ILO4 region by the small peaks. And thanks to CP-mass experiment, we are able to observe only aluminum near proton, and so we are able to observe only aluminum of hydride phases. And thanks to this experiment, we can observe, and we have 2 different signals in ILO4 region, a broader one and a thin one. So we have also 2 different hydride sites in ILO4 regions. Exactly by the same way, I present here silicon experiment. So here without hydration we obtain the signal of the glass, and more the hydration time is important, more some small and thin signals appear, indicating hydride phases. And thanks to CP-mass, we are also able to observe only silicon near proton, and so we can remove the glass from the spectra, and so we can increase the resolution of the spectra. And so we have different peaks. So the broader one with its Q0 and Q1 species. We have a thin one, Q1, Q2 connect to 1 aluminum, Q2 and Q3 species. And so all these species are attributed to hydride phases of silicon. We will now do the interpretation of all different signals we observe on different spectra of aluminum and silicon. NMR is able to detect amorphous phases, so we are able to observe the glass signal on aluminum and silicon spectra. So we have here the signal of the glass for aluminum, and here the signal of the glass in silicon spectra. And so thanks to NMR, we are also able to quantify this species, and so we are able to determine the proportion of glass in the sample. Thanks to NMR, we are also able to detect crystalline phases. So, for example, here we have the signal of the aluminum of étrangite, and so all aluminum 6 of étrangite will give a thin signal on aluminum spectra here. We are able also to detect disorder phases as AFM, and so we have here a thin signal in ILO6 region corresponding to aluminum of AFM. By the same way, we can also observe CISH, and so, for example, here we can observe the aluminum signal of CISH, and on the silicon spectra we can attribute a few thin peaks to the different speciation of silicon in the CISH structure. We can also detect MSH. So MSH is magnesium containing phases, mainly composed of Q3 silicon, and so we can here observe a signal in the Q3 region of the spectra corresponding to the silicon of MSH. Thanks to CP-mass experiment, we know that we have also an hydrate layer of glass. So the signature of this layer is shown here on the aluminum spectra by broad peaks, but a thinner one than the glass signal. On the silicon spectra, we cannot distinguish these peaks on the mass experiment. It's somewhere under the blue line, and so we know that it's here because of CP mass, but we cannot quantify this layer. To conclude this part, we can say thanks XRD and NMR analysis, then we create exactly the same phases regardless the basicity or the presence or not of titanium in the samples. It means we have exactly the same hydration reaction, and we haven't any evidence of titanium containing phase. We create lots of different phases as étrangite, AFM, CISH, and MSH. And now, thanks to NMR, we are able to quantify each phase, and so we can discuss the hydration kinetic of the slag. First, I plot here the proportion of the glass in the sample for aluminum and silicon element. So, for aluminum point of view, we observe that the effect of the basicity is important, and more the basicity is low, more the dissolution is slow. And for silicon, the effect is the same, but with a smaller effect. So the difference between both basicity is smaller. Now, when we add with dot line sample with titanium, we observe that in both cases titanium tend to slow down the glass dissolution, but this time the effect is higher on silicon. So that means that the basicity will have a higher impact on the aluminum dissolution, and the presence or not of titanium will impact mainly the silicon dissolution, and so the glass dissolution is non-congruent. Now I plot here the proportion of étrangite and AFM from aluminum spectra. So first we see that the proportion of étrangite reach really quickly a plateau around 20%, and the effect of the basicity is very small. The reverse on AFM, the effect is very higher, but the proportion of AFM is always increasing with time. That means that étrangite is a transitory species between the glass and AFM. Now, when we add sample with titanium, in both cases, titanium will slow down the reaction, so we will have less étrangite and AFM in the sample. And now we can also observe here that the effect of the basicity is more important for sample containing titanium. To finish, I plot here the emergence of CISH probe by silicon. So the effect of the basicity is not really important, exactly as for the glass dissolution. And so when we add a sample containing titanium. This time we saw that the effect of titanium will slow down the emergence of CASH, and now also the effect of the basicity is much more important for sample containing titanium than without titanium. To conclude this talk, so today I show you that the titanium haven't any effect on the nature of phase creating during the hydration. So we have exactly the same phase without titanium containing phase, but the kinetic of the reaction is different. That means that the dissolution of the glass is non-congruent for sample containing the titanium, and so the role of the titanium is different on silicon and aluminum. In fact, titanium tends to slow down the dissolution mainly of silicon, and this effect is higher on low basicity slag, and is probably due to the chain length of silica. The hypothesis is that titanium will stabilize some silica chains, and more the basicity is low, more the length of the chains are important. And a last important point is that the lower 28 days mechanical resistance could be explained by a lower amount of CASH in sample containing titanium, and more for low basicity sample. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, I can answer now, and you can also contact me by mail, and I will answer later to your question if you want.